It's Monday night, and that means Monday Night Football in all of its glory in beautiful New Orleans. I've had many a night there, but not many of them socially distanced, at least not that I remember. Chargers Saints coming at you tonight. You won't want to miss any of it on ESPN. And obviously, for Monday Night Tailgate, we like to get you set for it. If you're watching in the app, take the second now, authenticate. It means you can just stay in the app and you can watch the game. But in the meantime, for the next 30 minutes, we are going to get you all kinds of hyped with a recap of some of what you saw and a setup for what you will see on Monday Tailgate. Field Yates, Dan Graziano, I'm Jason Fitz. Guys, you know what? Let's just start by acknowledging the elephant in the room. I'm wearing a lot of Raiders gear, and I'm not even going to apologize. I was going to change and get all professional, but Field, I decided not to.
They're favored by 3 points tonight? Oh, I'm told they're not playing.
Playing tonight?
Well, the Raiders aren't playing. So you're just stuck on the high horse. I get it.
I assumed they were a new sponsor when Jason came on. I figured that must be what's going on. The Raiders spent some money.
Barry Sanders used to famously not celebrate touchdowns with any sort of, major pizzazz. You know why?
Yeah.
Act like you've been there before.
See, Field.
So you know what, Fitz? Here you are. You get one win over the Chiefs. The next thing you know, you're high and mighty. You got a second tattoo on your back this afternoon of a Raiders player that will not be named right now, but will be revealed at the end of the show. Act like you've been there before.
Well, look.
But he hasn't.
That's okay. Act like you've been there before is the 2019 thing. In 2020, I'm like, act like you're never going to get there again. Appreciate the moments while you get them. All right, we've got a lot to get into over the course of the next 30 minutes. Again, if you've never watched this before, we will recap some of the action. We're going to get you some of the best fashion. I know. You're welcome. You want it. And we're also going to set the table for a huge Monday Night Football matchup tonight. We will do all of that. And if you're watching in the app, like I said, if you authenticate, you can put all the information in. You can hang around and watch it. We're going to go all the way there. And we're going to start, as we always do, with Monday Rooster. And it starts with a bit of a somber note. We're going to go back and look at some of the big moments from yesterday. And guys, nothing's bigger in the minds of so many people than the moment that is behind you. That is the moment of Dak Prescott going off the field after a gruesome ankle injury. Dan, let's start with you here, as obviously we've got to figure out where we are right now on this situation.
Well, he had surgery last night, and the Cowboys put out a statement this morning saying it went well, and he headed home from the hospital today, and the recovery, we're being told, is 4 to 6 months. So that's where we are right now with Dak Prescott. Takes him out, obviously, for the rest of this year, and the 4 to 6 month timetable puts him right up against free agency, which is always part of the story with Dak. So, yeah, everything's on hold till then.
Yeah, I think some people wonder with the new adjusted IR rules this year what this would mean for Dak Prescott. He's going to miss the rest of this season. Obviously, this is one of those injuries that when you saw it, you knew it was bad. I don't like to play, armchair doctor on Sundays, but you knew something was majorly wrong with Dak Prescott. And there are zero silver linings in this situation. Dak Prescott has been through an immense amount in his life, on and off the field. He has also led, he has produced, he has performed, he has held up his end of the bargain at basically every juncture of his life. There are a few players who have deserved and earned more than what they have seen than Dak Prescott. So there are no silver linings. Let me be very abundantly clear with that. But there was something powerful in some of the images that we saw yesterday. And I'm not talking about when you saw the replay of the injury. It was nasty. It was grave. It was disgusting. It's one of those things that you wake up in the middle of the night in cold sweats thinking about it. But the way that his teammates rallied around him, both in the moments after his injury and then winning over the Giants, and I get it, the Giants are 0-5. This wasn't some sort of major upset. But the way the Giants players, the way that Jason Garrett, his former head coach, the way that the NFL took Twitter abuzz and praying and sending best wishes to Dak Prescott, I thought was really an interesting sort of powerful moment, speaking to just how much he is revered around the NFL. And not that any player getting injured is something that we ever care to see. That's not really the point here. The point is that you see Dak Prescott and the way that he carries himself, and you think to yourself, like, he's an easy guy to root for. You want the best for this kind of player. And it's clear that's a sentiment shared by not just Cowboys fans, but players all over the NFL. There's an immense amount of support being thrust behind Dak Prescott. And as has been said by many since last night, if there's one player I would not want to count out in overcoming long odds, and right now it might feel like long odds to Dak Prescott, it is Dak Prescott.
You mentioned the reaction from around the league, and obviously on the screen you're starting to see some of it. These, Dan, are some of the tweets that were coming out from players all over the league. And I think it's a powerful statement to Fields' point of how much respect and love there is in league circles for who Dak Prescott is.
Yeah, and to Fields, what Fields said, what he's come through, what he's accomplished, right? I mean, first of all, the football standpoint, right? A fourth-round pick that becomes the starter right away in surprising circumstances and keeps the job. That's a big one. We know his personal life there's been family tragedy in it. He's overcome. So, just today, just texting with people, talking to people close to the situation, a lot of people in that Cowboys building have said, Dak's a survivor. Those are words that I've heard or read on my phone a couple times. Say, Dak's a survivor. He will come back stronger than ever. That is the belief from the people that know him. And yeah, I mean, it's just, it stinks if it happens to anybody. But this is a guy that, we go back and forth, right? Oh, is he a top-level guy? Does he deserve to get paid? Is he better than whatever Carson? Everybody really does like him. And if you take all that, sports debate stuff out of the picture, his story is actually a great one, coming from where he came from to be the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. So obviously you hope as soon as possible he gets back to living that story.
And a guy that was on a historic pace with 4 games. I mean, he was prepared to shatter the passing yardage record for a single season. You see his brother Tad, who took to Twitter to send this tweet out from the hospital last night. And obviously Dak has extreme support from his brothers and a family that's very tight-knit, one that has endured a lot in their collective lifetime. You expect him to be back. And it feels almost small to talk about football and the Cowboys season going forward after this injury. The Cowboys signed Andy Dalton this offseason, and he was a free agent for a very short period of time. It was a deal that included $3 million guaranteed and the chance to earn up to $7 million. You think about some of the other quarterback contracts that were signed this offseason. Jameis Winston, he can't make that much money. Cam Newton can make about that much money, but he would have to lead the Patriots to a Super Bowl victory to earn $7.5 million. The reason I mention that is the Cowboys have a belief in Andy Dalton. A lot of players expressed that today, Monday, and yes, Dalton signed with Dallas in part because he's from the area, and during an unbelievably unique year, it was much better to be close to your original home than maybe being somewhere away from your family. But it's also an opportunity for him now to keep this team in the NFC East mix. I know that's not saying much, but for the Cowboys, you know that all they want to do is get in the dance, Fitz, because if they get into the playoffs, Jerry Jones is expecting to do, he's expecting wins at that point.
Well, and I think, Fields, you're making a great point. And I will echo the sentiment. We're all going to say it repeatedly. There are bigger things than football, but we do have to look at the football side of this for the Cowboys. And Dan, I keep thinking about what we've seen from Andy Dalton in the past. When he has big weapons, he can play. And believe me, he's got massive weapons. Like, this is a chance for the Cowboys and for Andy Dalton to both sort of rise through this.
The Cincinnati Bengals went to the playoffs in the first 5 years of Andy Dalton's career. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals, 5 years in a row. Like, prior to that, it had taken him about 20 years to go to the playoffs 5 times. Like, that's saying something. Look, he can play, and he fell into the Cowboys' laps. I memean, like, he called them, basically, right? He said, I want to play close to home. I know you guys need a backup quarterback. Can we do a deal? And they did a very nice deal. You mentioned up to $7 million. Marcus Mariota got more than that guaranteed in his contract from whatever team, I forget. But, 3-2 team, solid, better than the Cowboys so far. But anyway, they can probably win games with him, at least to the extent that you need to win the NFC East, where they only use 9 guys on defense.
I was going to say 8 wins is enough
to
win this division. Like, I'd be very surprised if Philadelphia, with the way they've started this season at 1-3-1 and the way their schedule lays out. I know going into Week 5, Mike Clay, our colleague here at ESPN, I know they have one of the hardest, if not the hardest, remaining schedules going forward. And, of course, they're now 1-3-1. So long odds for Philadelphia. I think that 8 wins this division. And I think the Cowboys have a chance to get there, especially if they take care of business within their division, right? If you get 4 wins against Washington and New York, you are in major business going forward.
Okay, real quick, before we move on out of this, I'll ask each of you to quickly answer this. Dak Prescott, is he still getting paid when free agency opens?
I'm going yes, and I think it's going to be like this. He's going to start with the franchise tag, which is going to count $37 million plus against the cap, and then he's going to sign a long-term deal. Because as much as it might sound crazy, a night after he dislocated his ankle in a gruesome injury, he still has some leverage. because without him, and I understand Andy Dalton's going to maybe prove this theory wrong, but without him, the Cowboys have a franchise quarterback hole, and it's not going to be easy to find one. It's rare you can find one as a surefire thing in the draft, and the Cowboys aren't going to be anywhere near close enough to the top of the draft to select a surefire quarterback.
Yeah, I think your crystal ball looks a lot like mine. I think the franchise tag to keep him from hitting the market and being a guy that other teams can bid on, the Cowboys don't want that. Look, the Cowboys, this is their guy, and I know that there's a lot of chatter about, oh, why didn't they sign him, et cetera. There's a lot of complexities to that. This is a fourth-round pick who has hit it big. Jerry Jones likes a success story. Like, he wants Dak Prescott to be the Dallas Cowboys quarterback for the entirety of his career, and I think they'll find a way. It's going to be tricky with the salary cap and the size of that franchise tag, but I think they'll find a way to get it done.
I think I've never rooted more for somebody to get the franchise tag and everything to work out than I am for this situation. All right, let's move on to another game on the Monday Rooster.
Have at it, buddy.
Woo! I'm just saying, for the first time since 2012, my beloved Raiders won in Kansas City. So, act like I've been there before. I don't remember what it was like to be there in the past. But this was, gentlemen, a significant win for the Raiders, all kidding aside. But also significant to see Kansas City sort of struggle, especially in the second half where they couldn't get a lot done. And that was a big surprise to me. So, big win for the Raiders. But also, Dan, it feels like sort of a surprising loss here for the Chiefs.
Well, any loss is a surprising loss for the Chiefs, I think, at this point. And they hadn't lost since last November, 10th? So, yeah, I have a hard time seeing this as some kind of sky is falling situation for the Chiefs because, like, defensively, I think we know the Chiefs are not, the 85 Bears, right? I mean, I think we had questions about their defense going into last year, and the questions that they answered were, can you play well enough in the big games to deliver a Super Bowl title? Resounding yes. I mean, they, like, literally in the biggest of games, Steve Spagnuolo and his defense delivered. Are they going to be able to sustain that intensity over a 16-game schedule? No. And I think what we saw yesterday was an example of that. I'm more impressed with what the Raiders did in terms of dictating the action, with the ability of Derek Carr to throw downfield, and with their ability to just kind of keep Patrick Mahomes a little bit off kilter for long enough.
Yeah, there is not a formula to slow down Patrick Mahomes, but there is like a blueprint of ways in which you can try your best to do that. Because even yesterday in that win, Mahomes still had a lovely statistical day, but it's clear if you can generate pressure against a Chiefs offensive line that's endured a couple of injuries already, then you might have a chance. Now, it's 1-5 so far of actually succeeding on that chance against the Chiefs this season, but an impressive win for your Raiders.
Two important quick nuggets that I'll give you about this game. Number one, the Raiders were substantially more healthy than they have been in other games. Ruggs made a difference. The return to Trent Brown made a difference. And to the defensive side of the point, I think the most interesting stat for people to keep an eye on is that Kansas City still had a 65% pass rush win rate, which means they were actually holding the Raiders' defensive line in check. The problem is Mahomes held the ball longer than he has in any game in his career. That's something that you can't get away with. So at least in this one Sunday. So we'll see what that means moving forward. All right, let's move forward to one of our favorite segments, Picture This. This is where we show you a little bit of some of the action from social media and fashion, all of it looped into one. And gentlemen, it starts with Russell Wilson wearing the Sue Bird shirt, coming out, giving a little bit of WNBA support for the WNBA champion Seattle Storm. Gotta love this.
Yeah, pretty awesome. And Sue Bird, 17th year in the WNBA, she leads them to the Seattle Storm, yet another WNBA championship. Russell Wilson, who is Pacific Northwest now through and through, showing love, and he has been incredibly supportive. He, of course, hosted the virtual ESPYs this year with Sue Bird as well, and Megan Rapinoe.
Look at that. Teddy Bridgewater next up, by the way, wearing some cleats. Dan making his mama proud.
He's
Pink
making
cleats.
his mama proud. He's making everybody proud. Teddy's comeback is kind of an underappreciated story so far, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've won 3 in a row. He's playing pretty well.
And now people are saying they don't need Christian McCaffrey. They've lost their minds. All right, Myles Garrett showing Field how you're supposed to dress when you're coming in for work. Field, you going to cop this one?
Yeah, I already have it. Fitz, so I appreciate Myles following my lead here. Listen,
right?
Myles Garrett might be the best defensive player not named Aaron Donald right now, and he can do whatever he wants. This man is just terrorizing opposing offensive tackles.
Yeah, well, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob, but he also lives on the feet of Naheem Hines. Look at these. Oh, Dan, what do you think? You got these?
I want a pair. Every time you see SpongeBob, I remember watching it with the kids when they were younger. We could still put it on. That's funny. They're teenagers now, and we can still put that movie on and recite it.
I, by the way, had an entire bathroom decorated in SpongeBob gear at one point. I'm not even afraid to admit it. All right.
Normal, Fitz. That's very normal.
entirely.
Next up, Chase Claypool getting in on some fun here. This is a little Photoshop action as Chase Claypool goes to Twitter to throw up the 4 on what is obviously Tampa Tom's picture there. I love this, guys.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Well done by Chase Claypool, who has the awesome nickname of Mapletron. Chase Claypool hails from Canada. A little bit of paying homage to Megatron, Mapletron. And if you have 4 touchdowns, I'll let it go. Normally, I don't want to crown people and put them in the same vein as Calvin Johnson, but for 24 hours after a 4-touchdown game, I'll let it slide. Mapletron. I'm in.
And by the way, if you're not following any of us on Twitter, you should. But Field with a great tweet yesterday pointing out that the Steelers didn't use a single first-round pick on a wide receiver during the last decade. And we all know, Field, the level of success they've had. So I'm just saying Field has done it here. Oh, there's the tweet up there. The Steelers did draft Antonio Brown, Emmanuel Sanders, Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Claypool, Martavis Bryant, Deontay Johnson, and James Washington during the last decade, reminding us all that some teams just do it better when it comes to scouting certain positions.
Some teams have a blind spot for wide receivers. Other teams, like the Steelers, seem to nail it almost every time they invest in a wideout in the draft.
You know who always nails it? Field Yates always nails it, especially when he gets to play with some fun new technology. Field, take it away.
All right, thank you, Fitz. Much appreciated for that. And we're going to play a little game of take your pick, either or. Who is better? I'm not sure what it's called, but let's get started with this segment. It's pretty straightforward, Dan Graziano. I'm going to give you a category, and you get to pick New Orleans or Los Angeles. And I'm putting you on the spot to start.
2 good choices.
Better stadium, the New Orleans Saints or the Los Angeles Chargers, which you and Fitz and I and literally everybody except for the Rams and the Chargers and the teams they have played this year have never been to.
Having never been to the Chargers' new stadium, I can say with complete confidence that it is the better stadium.
Okay, one vote for the Chargers.
I spent time in the Superdome, and I recognize its place in New Orleans history and the hearts of those wonderful people. It's kind of a dump.
I mean, I think they spent $5 billion on SoFi Stadium. If it's not the winner, we got a problem here.
Yeah. That's true.
Look, and by the way, guys, I should humble brag story. My first ever time being around the Super Bowl was in New Orleans, right? So I was all excited. I'm at the Super Bowl. I'm there with some buddies. I go to the stadium, and I look around, and it was the first time like I'd really soaked in the outside of that stadium. No, that is no. That's all I have to. That's all I have to say about Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
I'm not sure that the Chargers will storm out to a decided lead early in the game tonight, but they might right now because Fitz, the next category is the better jerseys, and you're a jersey purist. What do you got?
Oh no, this isn't even close. I mean, this is the Chargers win this even with their downgraded. Remember, the original powder blues are the best jersey the NFL's ever seen, but even with their downgraded jerseys, they're still better than the Saints. The Saints jerseys are.
They're fine. There's worse.
They're
right?
fine.
But you could have the second best jersey in the league and still not be, the Chargers.
I know that's what the Raiders feel every Sunday. Go ahead.
Chargers, Raiders. I think the Chiefs are actually in that conversation as well. Let's keep this rolling here. And now I feel like I'm pouring it on because the better future is the Los Angeles Chargers. And here's the reason why. Justin Herbert, I'm looking at you. You have been brilliant through your first 3 starts. You have 930 plus passing yards. You have looked every bit the part. And I understand they have a couple of players on defense that either are aging a little bit, like Melvin Ingram, not sure what his part of the future is or what part of the future he is, or players that, for example, Derwin James, haven't been able to stay healthy. But still, I love this Chargers offensive outlook because of Justin Herbert. And Drew Brees, we know, is a year-to-year proposition. If tonight is his final game of Monday Night Football, congratulations. You may be the greatest player in Monday Night Football history. So, Graz, going back to you. Better city.
Wait. You're just going to gloss over better future without letting the rest of us chime in, Phil? Because you threw out some hot takes that are just wrong.
So you
Whoa, really?
You disagree? Really?
Yeah.
I agreed with him.
No, the better future's in New Orleans. I mean, you're taking a small sample size out of Justin Herbert, a quarterback that there were questions about coming out of the draft. And we're not even acknowledging that if we'd have waited 3 games in, we all thought that Baker Mayfield was the second coming, and then 2 seasons in, he's trash, and now maybe he's the second coming again. Like, having a young quarterback with a limited amount of success is a nice piece, but last time I checked, Sean Payton is on the sideline for the Saints. Sean Payton knows what he's doing as a head coach. There's stability when you have front office stability. The Saints have that. I think that because of that, their future's bright no matter who's the quarterback.
That's a pretty compelling argument.
They don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Their salary cap's a mess. I mean, they're a win-now team in New Orleans, no doubt about it.
How many years have they been win now, though? They always win now.
Yeah, but I'm not sure I've
Justin
ever
Herbert drop back and throw the ball as far as he possibly can?
Fun.
It's a thing of beauty. It's just 3 games.
Just drinking the Kool-Aid. All good. Let's
buy
keep it
into the
rolling
hype,
here.
man.
A little bit of speed dating action.
Enjoy it.
Dan, who do you got here? Better city, New Orleans or Los Angeles?
I love them both. I enjoy New Orleans more.
Yeah. You know what? Los Angeles, great city, unbelievable weather.
Yeah.
You go to New Orleans and don't have fun, that's on you. It's on the city because it's a great city, great people, great food. Great food, but better food than Los Angeles, Jason Fitz?
Oh my God! Yeah, New Orleans has to have better food than. But the sushi in LA is. No, better food. Better food.
Okay, better food goes to New Orleans. I mean, it just
New Orleans.
What's more iconic, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, it just feels like you have a much more. You have signature dishes. Get yourself some jumbo. Enjoy. It's also football food, right? You can have jumbo leading into a game. I don't think of a pregame meal involving sushi. Let's keep things rolling here. Better fan base here, Dan, and.
You could have just said only fan base.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Win. We'll move forward with that one. The Saints have some of the best fans
LA
in football.
know the Chargers are there
Love
yet?
fans forever. All right, so this goes back to what Fitz was just talking. Yeah, I don't know. Question. Better coach. Who's the better coach?
I mean, Sean Payton's the more
answered it
accomplished
for you.
coach, right? Oh, sorry.
No.
Was it me?
No, it was you.
Oh.
I was jumping the gun a little bit.
I mean, Sean Payton. I mean, like Anthony Lynn would say, Sean Payton's accomplished more than he has as a coach. As good as Anthony Lynn is, you got to give that one to Sean Payton. Could be a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah, I think he's probably on his way to Kansas at some point. And Anthony Lynn, great man, but still, obviously, from a head coaching standpoint, has to win more before it's in the same vein as Sean Payton. All right, Fitz, you're kind of our version of a celebrity. You've been on tours and stuff. You are a musician extraordinaire. Which town has better celebrities?
Okay, so there are better celebrities in LA, but better celebrities that actually care about the team. Okay, so there's one reason why I'm going Chargers on this, and it's because Kenny Chesney and the whole Saints thing. Like, I got an issue with the fact that Kenny Chesney's a super fan of every team that will give him a free jersey. He's the country music equivalent of Drake. I'm not here for it. So, out of loyalty alone, I'm giving Chargers better celebrities.
Wow, interesting. Okay, I mean, you guys, I didn't know if the question was celebrities amongst the fan base or celebrities that are from that area, right? The Mannings are not obviously Saints fans, but maybe they have a little bit of love given their father played there, but they do hail from New Orleans. Last one here. Let's go around the bend here. Better nightlife. You know, 3 guys who are all married. Certainly, I mean, we are just the picture of, going out and clubbing. I'm going to go with New Orleans. Been to a bunch of bachelor parties in New Orleans. I've always had a great time. New Orleans, it's just a fun city in every way.
Yeah, I think so too. I've had more fun in New Orleans. Again, nothing against LA. I've had more fun in New Orleans.
I don't remember any of the nights I've had in New Orleans, so maybe I go LA out of this. I'm just being contrary. Look, the clubs in LA are awesome. The music scene in LA is awesome, but the music scene in New Orleans is great too. It's a tough one to me, but yeah, there's just something about New Orleans that, it gets you. So I'm with you. I'll go New Orleans.
What we should have done, we should have gotten the guys who will be in the booth involved in this game. They could have spoken from experience. They've been in New Orleans for a few days, but rather than getting them involved, we'll just pass it on to Steve and the guys for more.
It's a finicky NFL world we all live in, right? A few weeks ago, the Saints are done, and Drew Brees, his time is over. Headlines from last week, Drew Brees is back. Saints are coming off, Grease, their best effort of the season.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I think when we look back at this season, it might be a turning point for the Saints offense. They played against the Lions, and that couldn't have started any worse. A tipped interception from Drew Brees, not his fault, just going to happen. But it turns out they go down 14-0 early in the first 5 minutes in that game. They come back and score 5 consecutive touchdowns. Probably the best stretch they've had offensively, running the football. Alvin Kamara, Latavius Murray got the run game going, and certainly a more efficient game from Drew Brees. I think it was a big reason why they got on track.
Lewis, as for the Chargers, the season is quickly getting away from them at 1-3. They win the opener. If anyone has ever had a 2020 year, it's Tyrod Taylor with everything he's gone through. Now Los Angeles and Anthony Lynn trying to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, and they're going to try and pick up the pieces, Steve, with Justin Herbert. I mean, it's a lot of pressure to put on a young quarterback. When you're drafted inside of the top 10, sometimes this is the hand that's dealt to you, and you have to deal with it. And this young man's dealt with it, and I think he has exceeded expectations far above and beyond what people expected him to. He's shown poise, he's shown calm, he's shown confidence in some of the most pressing of situations. 3rd down, under pressure, when teams are sending 5 or more people after him, he is just delivering strikes time and time again. He's going to have to do that down here because his offensive line is decimated. His best running back, his number 1 running back, is not going to play. On the defensive side of the ball, their best pass rusher, or rather their second best pass rusher, is not going to be there. So there's a lot on this young man's plate. We'll see if he's up to the challenge. So far, so good. He now just has to get a W under his belt and see if they can then get on a roll.
Big night for John Parry, our official. Keep this in mind as we leave you with this. The New Orleans Saints lead the NFL in most defensive pass interference calls, and the Chargers haven't had a single one. Something else to watch for here tonight. And now back to the Monday Tailgate crew.
All right, guys, Monday Tailgate. If you're just tuning in, authenticate right now. You can stick with us. You can watch the game in the app. You don't even have to go anywhere. Field Yates, Dan Graziano, I'm Jason Fitz. I got two insiders sitting, socially distanced here. So I got to ask you guys, Michael Thomas out because of an altercation. Somebody tell me what the heck's going on here.
Graz, you first.
Well, he had a fight with a teammate at practice. I mean, he got into it with a teammate, and they've decided to sit him down as punishment, which is really unexpected. We thought he was coming back off his injury for this game, and then this happens late last week, and that looks like what it's going to be for Michael Thomas this week. The hope, obviously, is that it's a one-week punishment. Things don't linger into next week, right? And then he comes back the next game. Are they off next week? They're off next week.
They're off next week.
So he won't be
back
Week 7.
Week 7.
Yeah.
So, Fitz, our own Mike Triplett confirmed it was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, a safety who the altercation involved on the other side. And, I would say this. I think that probably the tipping point is the punch being thrown, but there has to be more that led up to that moment that contributed to Michael Thomas being suspended for this game by the team. I mean, it's not technically suspended, it's deactivated, but, fights amongst teammates, while they're not good, they're also not that uncommon in the NFL. We see it, especially during the dog days of training camp when there actually are normal training camps and guys are sick of going back and forth at the same offensive lineman or same defensive lineman. But Michael Thomas now, this is an amazing thing to consider. The Saints will enter Week 7, and Michael Thomas will have 12 receiving yards up to that point. That's just remarkable. They could be 3-2 with 12 receiving yards from Michael Thomas. So a season ago, he literally rewrote part of the wide receiver history book with 149 catches. He has one and will have only one through the first 6 weeks of the season.
Okay, and obviously some people at this point are, being reminded of the importance of Michael Thomas, but this is still Drew Brees' team in the minds of many. And that leads to, at least the joke that we're going to constantly have about the age difference. They tell me here that Justin Herbert was 6 years old when Brees played his final game for the Chargers, which just makes me feel old. But Dan, the guys were just referencing it. We're up and down on our opinions of Brees. Where are you at this point on the quarterback?
Well, I think he's what he is at this point, and he misses Michael Thomas. I don't think there's any question about that. One player shouldn't make that big a difference. You're talking about Brees in an offense like the Saints, but he caught 149 passes last year. You don't just replace that. So they haven't got on track offensively. There's been a lot of talk about arm strength and air yards and all that, but I don't think that's particularly new this year. I think it's just standing out because the offense hasn't clicked, and so much has been Alvin Kamara catches it and runs the rest of the way. So I think we're at a point with Drew Brees where I'm sure the Saints can win with him. The guys on the crew referenced the penalties. That's been a much bigger problem for the New Orleans Saints this year than Drew Brees' performance. I think they get it together, but we're so used to them having it together already that I think it's interesting. If the Chargers give them a tough game tonight, fresh questions through that bye week.
You know what? I mentioned this in our either-or segment. Drew Brees has been arguably the best player on Monday Night Football in the history of the iconic game. It's 50-plus years old now, and Drew Brees has had seminal moments in his career. It was the passing yardage record. It was the passing touchdowns record. He has literally made history multiple times on Monday Night Football, whether that's coincidence or whether there's something about the energy in a Monday Night Football game. You would think that if there's ever a game where you can count on good Drew Brees, this might be it, even though the Chargers secondary, despite all these injuries, is still fairly competitive.
Is it his first Monday night game this year?
Drew Brees's?
Yeah.
Hey, come on.
What happened?
Come on.
What happened in the first one?
I can't imagine who else they played on Monday. Okay, real quick, let's look at the other side of it quickly, guys. Austin Eckler out in this game. We've been giving a lot of praise to Justin Herbert throughout the course of this. So, Field, in your mind, what impact no Eckler will that have on the offense for the Chargers tonight?
Substantial one, because it's easy to say, here's the next man up. Joshua Kelly's going to carry the football a ton for the Chargers. He has quite a bit through the first 4 games. But Justin Jackson is the next man up as a pass catcher, and Jackson is a fine player, make no mistake about that, but he's been banged up this season. They've sort of slowed his role as a result of that. I think it's really difficult to replace Austin Eckler because he's their second most reliable pass catcher besides Keenan Allen, or maybe he's right there with Hunter Henry. So you're going to have to play keep up tonight. But as we've seen with Justin Herbert, He's got some of this razzle-dazzle,
He sure
impromptu, not quite Patrick Mahomes, but some elements of even when a play looks down and out, he'll find a way. Some backyard football.
Take off
in him.
and run with it, yeah.
And that right there can keep the Chargers in this game.
All right, so before we get out of here, let's throw up some picks. We like to do this every week. Hopefully nobody's keeping track because I think I picked the Falcons last week in the last second.
That was a great thought.
Whoops. All right, so let's go through them this week. Dan, Field. We're starting with Field. Field, who you got?
I got the Saints. I'm not going to be exciting. I'm just going to pick the team playing at home that I think is better, more talented, deeper. They overcome the absence of Michael Thomas.
Dan, who you got?
I got the Saints. Anytime they play Monday Night Football, unless it's against the Raiders.
Now, you know what? Dan, if I could hug you, if it wasn't for COVID, I would. I'm gonna triple up on this. Last week I tried to get all cute. We know that doesn't work for me. I'm taking the Saints also, although I do think there's going to be a hell of a game. So we're all picking the Saints. We'll see if that works, if we're all in lockstep. If we're all smart, then it's my credit. If we're all wrong,
The Saints are counting on that.
We all follow Field. All right, this has been Monday Tailgate. If you're watching us, stick in the app. Hang out with us there. If you authenticate, you can just watch the game right there. For Dan Graziano, for Field Yates, I'm Jason Fitz. We're here every single week before the game to get you set. Enjoy some Monday Night Football action. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We genuinely appreciate every second of your time that you gave us.